Cool.
Okay, here we go. Chrissie, thank you very much for coming on the show. How are you doing today?
Good, thank you. Good. It's nice to chat to you. Thank you for having us.
Chrissie, I want to share your story. I watched your interview that you did not long ago, explaining your story. Now we're going to go over, I'm going to get you to introduce yourself, and I want us to kind of start and just give give people, what you're going through at the moment, some of the things that you've achieved, and then we can kind of start from the beginning, because I think it's a great story to tell, some of the things that you've gone through. So Chrissie, do you want to just tell us a little bit more about yourself?
Yeah, so I'm Chrissie Jackson. I live in Newquay in Cornwall, and last January I was diagnosed with terminal cancer. As you can imagine, it was a total out of the blue. I hadn't really had any symptoms. I'd gone sailing. I'd done a massive adventure. I'd raced from Australia to China, and was about to race from China to Seattle. And I got a blood clot, which was quite unusual for somebody my age. My left leg just swelled up out of the blue. So at the time, we thought it was possibly dehydration from the sailing, being in cramped conditions on the boat. There was lots of other reasons, but unfortunately, it turned out a few months later we discovered that it was cancer. And the cancer has spread to various parts of my body. So it spread to my pelvic lymph glands, and my pelvic bone, my sacrum bone, and also multiple tumours in the lungs. And basically they said, we're sorry, we'll treat what best we can, but we can't cure you. It's gone to stage 4. So all we can do is make you as comfortable as possible. So it's been one heck of a 18 months, nearly 2 years, yeah.
Wow. So really nearly 2 years. And you said back in 2017, I actually want you to take us back there, because, the challenges and stuff that you were embarking on at that time were, epic challenges, sailing from Australia to China. I think you were going to go across the Pacific as well, right?
Yeah, I was due to go across the North Pacific. I still desperately want to one day.
How were
Hopefully.
those,
You never know.
how did those challenges come about?
Oh, so they came about. So I'd reached a bit of a turning point in my life and didn't really know what to do with my life. And I loved sailing, so I'd taken myself up to the London Boat Show, and there was a clipper stand. And the next thing I knew, I was signed up, and it was absolutely the best thing that could have ever happened to me. It took me out to Newquay. It gave me a passion of sailing. It gave me a wonderful bunch of people, and it gives you 4 weeks training before you actually embark on the race. I'm fiercely competitive as well. And I got teamed with the most amazing skipper, Nikki Henderson. And she was the youngest female skipper, youngest skipper to have taken a boat around the world. She was only 23 at the time. I found it immensely inspirational, and the energy was tremendous. And also it was a really good excuse to get physically fit, because you needed to be fit, because when you were on the boat, you were doing shifts of 4 hours on, 4 hours off, and it was quite physically demanding on your body and mentally demanding as well. It was great fun though, great fun. And our second race into China, we won as well. So I was on the biggest high of my life, having won the race, and achieved so much. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds absolutely grueling, and congratulations on completing that as well. And I know you said there that it's a dream of yours still to be able to go and do the Pacific. Is the Pacific route that you want to do, is that a lot kind of tougher? Is that more of a challenge?
Yeah, so I always wanted to do the North Pacific because it's tremendous. I mean, it's like the race that went ahead, the boats that crossed, and I followed them, and we went to Seattle to meet them, and absolutely amazing. But they saw tremendous waves. They had waves like there were size and multi-story buildings, and they had hurricane conditions. And at one point, the closest people you're to is to the NASA space station. I just think the loneliness, the physical demand of nature, of you with a boat, and it's like you see the skies at night are like nothing I've ever seen before. The phosphorescence in the water, and absolutely. I desperately wanted to do the North Pacific, and so since I did the race, since I got diagnosed with cancer, last year, one of the girls that I sailed with, she's actually going to do the North Pacific on my behalf. She's been a mini Chrissie. So Susan went. So the race the race was going ahead last year, but obviously COVID put a little spanner in the works. So just before they were about to cross the North Pacific. So I feel like I've failed the North Pacific twice now. But they called the boats back the boats had to go into the Philippines, and the boats actually have been left in the Philippines due to COVID. So hopefully the race will resume next August. So hopefully me and Susan's going to do it physically for me, but I'm joining her spiritually. We're going to cross the North Pacific together next August. So yeah, that'll be fun.
That's great. It's a shame that you're not able to do it obviously by yourself, but her doing it on your behalf is great. But listen, this is what we're going to get into now. Some of the amazing stuff that you've been doing, since 2017 when you got your diagnosis. Do you want to I know you spoke about this in the video that I watched, the interview that you did, and it's one of those things where you said, your journey, bringing awareness around what you've been kind of going through, you don't mind talking about that. What was the journey like from 2017 to kind of where you're currently at now?
So the actual cancer diagnosis, so I had the blood clot back in 2017-18 on the race. The actual cancer diagnosis wasn't until last year. So that was in January last year. And I found, I don't know, I presume anybody else is the same as this with cancer. When you're telling people sad news, it's really hard, really, really hard. And it's really draining and it's very negative. And I was just like, well, actually, I've got an opportunity while I'm still well enough to do something positive out of this horrible stuff. So I think you think of all the things that you've done in your life and what you'd like to put back as your legacy, as it were. So I sat there one day with a friend and said, I would like to support the cancer charities, Newquay RNLI, and rattled off all these different charities and particularly animal ones as well. My friend said, you can't do all of those. I was like, yeah, of course I can. Why not? So we came up with the idea of the umbrella name of Chrissie Sunshine Appeal. And under that umbrella name, Chrissie Sunshine Appeal, I started fundraising for 9 different charities that were close to my heart. And I've been very lucky down in Newquay. I'd run the local newspaper down in Newquay, and the community in Newquay was tremendous. It's like we ran the story in the local paper, in the Newquay Voice and on Radio Newquay, and all the and everybody got behind it. And straight away, people came up with ideas of their own of how they could fundraise the Chrissie Sunshine Appeal. And within 7 days, we'd raised 7,000. In the first week. It was tremendous, absolutely tremendous. Yeah. So the local sports group, the local road runners, did a Chrissie Sunshine 5K run. That raised a few thousand straight away on the first week. It was tremendous. And so what we've done is, like, lots of people have done lots of different events. And from a lovely local girl, Phoebe, I think she's 8 years old, painting some stones and on holidays and selling the stones and collecting shells and selling them. It's lovely. It's been tremendous. It's meant a lot to me. Yeah.
Listen, it's testament to the message you put out yourself as well, like how encouraging, how motivating you are in terms of people are buying into that. And I know other people have said that as well. The amazing stuff that you've done, you're really inspiring people to go out and do those things. And I think you mentioned someone that from the gym is doing 2,000 burpees or a challenge similar to that.
Yeah, so I'm supporting, I think, it's like the era of social media is great, isn't it? You can flick on your phone, and one of the local guys is doing burpees for charity, so I'm supporting him. And, it's like, how tremendous is that? It's like, I think at the end of the day, it's like your body is a gift, and we take it for granted that it's going to be all right. I particularly had. And now it's like, now I give my body absolutely everything it can have. It's like I eat really well every day. I look after it as much as I can every day. We take for granted our movements. So if he can still move and if he can still do burpees, it's like, I can't even get up and down off the floor. So I'm struggling to walk at the moment, unfortunately, because cancer's in my sacrum, because it's in the lower part of my spine. At the moment, I've just had a scan and it started to squeeze the spinal cord. So that's why I had some radiotherapy 2 weeks ago. So as a course of treatments, what I've had is I had chemotherapy last March through to July, and then unfortunately that didn't work. The cancers were all still growing. But then I was very lucky. I was eligible for, because the cancers were still growing, I was eligible for an immunotherapy trial. It was an American-led trial, but still in Cornwall, I could still have it. It was tremendous. And I got looked after by the trials team, which was absolutely awesome. And then that I managed to stay on that for 11 months, and it was tremendous, absolutely tremendous. Unfortunately, the cancer started to grow, and protocol of the trial is really strict, and I had to be taken off the trial. So at the moment, I'm not having any treatment as such. I've just had this radiotherapy. So yeah.
Chrissie, how do you, watching you on social media, obviously I'm over the other side of the world now, it'd be great to be back with you in Newquay, but how do you stay so positive in your videos and stuff that you're putting out, and also the chemo in cool places that you did?
Yeah, so I feel like I'm very lucky. It's like I've got an incredible medical team around me. I've got an incredible bunch of friends around me. They keep me motivated every day, and the sunshine stuff has kept me motivated. I needed a reason to get up every day, and doing the fundraising has given me that. So no matter how crappy I felt, it's like, right, no, I will get up, I will do it, I have to do it, because it makes a big difference. So when I was doing the chemo, I came up with, oh, crikey, sorry, that's a landline going. Do you want to pause that?
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah, so I started Chemo in Cool Places. So basically anything to do with cancer is so negative, it's so hard. It's like, it can't be positive, can it? And especially when you say to people, unfortunately I can't be cured, they can only prolong, everybody goes, no, don't worry, you're going to be all right. It's like, yeah, no, I'm not. It's like, and it's a lot to get your head around. Mindfulness, it's like, I have counselling every week. It's like, I have to have that. Every Wednesday, I meet up with the most beautiful lady, Mel. She really looks after me. So you got to, it's like your mind is so important. It's like, if you can look after your mind, it's everything. And allow yourself times to be low. It's like, you can't always be high. Anyway, sorry. Chemo in Cool Places. So my chemo was 2 different chemos, and I have a port. So are you squeamish?
No.
So this is where they put the drugs in me.
Okay.
They operated on me and put it beneath my skin. So basically, it's a vessel that's attached to the top of my heart. And instead of having a PICC line on your arm and the drugs being induced into your arm, it goes straight into there. Okay. It's a lot more comfortable. And now I've got the cat meowing. So 2 different versions of chemo. So one version I was going to the hospital for, it was 10 hours of treatment. It was quite a long old day, and that was into my port here. And then the other version was a tablet version. It meant I could take it wherever I was. I just thought it was tremendous. It's like, how amazing is modern medicine that I can have chemo wherever I am. So the first weekend of having the chemo, it's like the list of side effects are horrendous. And it's like, so the first weekend I was like, right, okay, am I feeling sick? Am I feeling this? Am I feeling that? It's like, I started to really overnight analyze stuff. And just thought, no, I can't just sit here and wait for things to happen. I have to keep busy. And it was my friend's birthday in Windsor. So I jumped in the car to go and surprise her in Windsor. Took my chemo with me, took my tablets with me. And as I arrived in Windsor, I took my chemo beneath Windsor Castle. So I was like, oh, this is so cool. And then that week, we went to see shows in London. We had a lovely week. And wherever I was taking my chemo. So as I was driving back to Cornwall, it's just like, it's a little bit, seed and nugget of a birth of an idea of I can take my chemo wherever I am. Why don't we put it out there to see where I could visit to take my chemo? And again, the whole community, social media, just straight away, all my friends came up with some really great ideas. And I ended up having 3 months of chemo, but I also had 3 months of a whale of a time. So I had it with the local firefighters. They took me up on the aerial platform in Newquay. The local police mock arrested me and threw me in the back of a cell. I went to London Tower Bridge, opened that. I went to Wimbledon, saw Kylie in concert, saw Take That in concert, and the whole time I've still taken my chemo. But the fact, the joys of modern medicine and my amazing medical team meant that I could still carry on having a good time. So chemo in cool places finished when my chemo finished. And then I started the immunotherapy trial. I was just like, what can I do that I still needed something else that was a positive to do. So I had a chat with a friend one day. She's like, why don't you arrive in style for your trial? I was like, brilliant, why not? Because nothing rhymes with immunotherapy. But the trial, I was like, yeah, okay. So that was another birth of an idea, and we had such great fun. So what we'd do is I'd arrive at the hospital for my treatment, which is every 4 weeks, in a different way, in a different vehicle. So first time it was my friend Minnie. The second time was a motorbike, back on the motorbike. And then we went even further. One of the treatments was on Halloween, so I dressed up as Catwoman and came in a McLaren. It was such a groovy car. The door was like open like this. And then Christmas Eve, I had treatment. So Father Christmas brought me, and me and my sister dressed as elves. New Year, lovely 1920s car brought me in. I'm dressed in 1920s, so seen in 2020s. And then February, my friend's horse, I rode in. It's been tremendous. It's been absolutely brilliant. And it's so weird. It's like, you never would have thought that now all that stuff you couldn't do because of COVID and because of the restrictions that we've had this year. So the whole Chrissie Sunshine Appeal story is literally make the most of every day. It's an absolute treasure. Try and just make the most of every day. And we've got to I have this little mantra of turn your face to the sun and let the shadows fall behind you. And you have to just make the most of every precious moment we've got here. Yeah.
That's great that you say that. And I just think the fact that you've taken those experiences you've gone through and you've been able to make them positive, with the chemo in cool places, and then obviously they're arriving for your therapy as well. I think that's that's amazing.
Yeah, I've been very lucky with my medical team. I'm thinking of keep fit stuff. I've got the most amazing palliative physio, and she's basically kept my body moving when nobody else would have. And she's made sure that. So last October, we did a fantastic thing at the CrossFit gym in Newquay, and we called it With Cancer We Can. And it was myself and another palliative care patient, and we did like a little round of CrossFit. We did a little mini competition against the other physios in Cornwall, and that was inspirational. That was brilliant. And it just shows that it's like, no matter what your ability is, okay, you can't pick up that heavy weight, but you can do the weights. You can still do the bar without the weight safely. If you work with somebody who knows what's going on within your body, as Paul would always know my results before I did, because she always wanted to make sure that I was exercising safely. And I tell you what, keeping the body moving has been absolutely key to my mental health as well as physical health.
Yeah, I was going to say, obviously the role of exercise on your health, both physically and mentally, you were just about to talk about the mental side of it as well.
Yeah. So lockdown happened, and that was hard. And literally, it's like, because I'm shielding, it's like I totally locked down, as it were. So I only stayed in the house and the garden for the first 4 weeks. And then I found that my walking was getting really bad. I'd gone from 10,000-15,000 steps a day to just 2,000-3,000 steps a day, 4,000 steps a day. And it was affecting my walking, it was affecting my back, was hurting again. And luckily, I spoke to one of the medical team, and she was just like, if you can go for a walk, if you can exercise somewhere safely, away from other people, you know, do so. And so I set out on a little mission, and I had to build myself up. It's like, just went for short walks outside the house, and then managed to build it up to 2-3 miles, and build it up to 4 or 5 miles. And, you know, it's like getting out of the house, getting that fresh air, and, you know, it's just your basic mindfulness, you know, listening to the birds as you're walking. And it's like, and it's a real joy to be able to walk. It's like, it's only when it's taken away from you that you realize how precious every step is that you can take. Yeah.
That's great. Chrissie, I want you to tell us a little bit more. I know you've touched on it already, the Sunshine Appeal, all the stuff that you've done. Listen, you've raised a hell of a lot of money, and perhaps tell us some of the charities that you work with, some of your chosen charities.
Yeah, so it's been tremendous. So straight away, as soon as I was diagnosed, it's like, your head is in a whirlwind. You're in another planet. I'm gonna go there. One of the most amazing places is the Cove, Macmillan.
Yeah.
Which is next to where you have your appointments, and they looked after us so well. I'm all right. So the Cove Macmillan was absolutely amazing. So they're one of my chosen charities. They're funded by Macmillan and Royal Cornwall Hospital Trust, so we kind of like double up on their support. What they give is absolutely amazing, because it's like, I'm 47 actually now, I'm 48. But all of a sudden it's like you haven't got an income anymore. It's like, what do you do? It's like, you still have to pay your bills, you still have to pay your water bill, your electricity bill. It's like, how do you do that? But luckily Macmillan have got a dedicated citizens advice, and they help you with everything. It's been tremendous. Even to they've and at the time I really didn't want it. They've helped me with a blue badge, so you can park on double yellow lines, so you can park on disabled spaces. And at the time I so didn't want it, and because I was moving fine, I didn't use it to begin with. But now at the moment I'm not walking fine. It's a godsend. It's absolute. So Macmillan, absolutely amazing. They help you with so many aspects of it. They've helped with counselling as well. It's like, because it's countrywide, my family live 300 miles away from me. They have very amazingly supported my family through all of this as well. It's like, my family have had some counselling, which I think is tremendous. So important to look after your mental health. So if we can look after Macmillan, brilliant. It's definitely one of my charities. We did an amazing abseil off Spinnaker Tower in Portsmouth as well for them. Back in July last year, there's a gang of half a dozen of us. It was tremendous to stand at the top of that tower, such an adrenaline but rush, and abseil down. And it's like, I couldn't do that at the moment. It's like, I'm so glad we seize the day and seize the moment on these things, because we couldn't do them now. So yeah, the other charities are Newquay RNI. It's like my passion is sailing, and the guys, I've had a lot to do with the guys at Newquay RNI over the years, are just tremendous. It's like, what they go out in on their rescue missions are just awesome. So if we could support them, it's amazing. Newquay Town Lister Lions look after everything about my Sunshine Appeal, and they support so many people in Newquay. They're one of my charities. And back to the cancer, the Sunrise Appeal. So I go to the Sunrise Centre for all my oncology appointments, and went there for the radiotherapy as well. And they are tremendous. It's like, they're a charity, but they've been going for 20 years, but they support so many oncology things. A basic thing, like, they've developed an app on your phone. And so one day when I was having my chemo, I was having a bad night, and I just literally looked up the details, and there was the answers on my phone. It was brilliant, because it meant that at 3 o'clock in the morning I didn't have to phone a doctor. I could, find the answers through there. So even down to the Sunrise app. So yes, the Sunrise Appeal is one of my charities, and then the rest are animal charities, which I've got a huge love of animals. I don't know about you, it's like animals know so much about you, don't they? It's like,
Well, it's funny that in this podcast, you're probably going to hear your cat in the background and my cat in the background. So
I
that shows
know.
it.
I'd always planned to be a crazy cat lady. I'm heading that way. Cats. So Sally's Cat Rescue, which is based in Roach, is one of my charities, and they are absolutely amazing. I've got back in Newquay, I'm speaking to you from my mum's at the moment. Actually, there we go.
Oh, there we go.
As Ruby tucked up in front of the fire, she's not daft, is she? Back in Newquay, I've got a feral cat that decided to move in called Dennis, and he is the love of my life. And he so knows when I'm not feeling so good. He knows better than me when I'm not feeling so good, and he'll sit on my knee. He won't let me move, and he's like giving me a love. And it's like the love of an animal is just something else, isn't it? So Sally's Cat Rescue, they rescue all sorts. Definitely Sally's Cat Rescue is one of my charities. And then another one, it's a fairly new one for me, it's Refuge for Pets, which I think is so topical at the moment with COVID. Unfortunately, people get trapped in relationships that are abusive and they can't leave. And a lot of the time they can't leave because they've got their own animals, and the rescue houses won't take animals. So what Refuge for Pets do is they foster, look after your animal while you get yourself sorted, while you leave your violent relationship, maybe a violent relationship. They look after your animal for you. So get yourself back on your feet, have your animal back. Amazing.
That's great. It's great that you raise money for so many charities. And listen, you mentioned already that you raised in that 7 days close to £7,000. Have you got an idea of how much you've raised in total since the Sunshine Appeal began?
I had some amazing gang of my Clipper friends did an enormous challenge back at the start of October, and they cycled 280 miles from Gosport, from where the Clipper head office, my sailing race, all the way to Newquay, calling it Right in Sunshine, and they raised my Sunshine Appeal now. I need to double check with the guys that organised it all, but we must be on our way to £50,000.
Wow,
yeah.
That is incredible.
Yeah, totally, yeah. Then my other two charities is the Bob and Pony Rehabilitation Centre. Shirley and the gang there are absolutely amazing, and Pickles and Paws, they're the hedgehogs. I had a lot to do with those guys over the years, and they are amazing as well. And so many people out there are just dedicating their lives to, tremendous charities. To be able to help them as well through something so negative of what I'm going through turns it into being a positive, and it's what I need. And to know that we're helping everybody is tremendous.
That's incredible. And if I saw rightly, you actually did some of your donations to the charities recently because of the lockdown COVID situation on Zoom, right?
Yes, yeah. Thanks to Phil for helping me there, because I couldn't do technology on that. He was tremendous. He really helped me. So this is it. We can't let COVID get in the way of things. We can still do things. Things are still achievable. And we've got to just stay safe and stay sane in this COVID time, and still enjoy things. It's like you can still exercise. You can still look after your mindfulness. You can still look after yourself. It's so important to. Don't let COVID get you down. All right, things are having to be changed, and you can't go to a restaurant in the UK from this week. We're in full on lockdown, but it's like, make the most of this time. Don't let the time slip by and do nothing with that time. Time is so important. It's like, make the most of it. Make the most of every day. It's so special.
Chrissie, it's been absolutely amazing speaking to you today. If people want to find out more about your Sunshine Appeal, where can they go? Where can they find out more information?
So just on the website or on Facebook, and it's Chrissie Sunshine Appeal, and you'll see all the crazy antics. I really don't know what we're going to get up to next, but I'm sure we'll plan something. Maybe a quiz in lockdown or something I can feel coming up.
That's brilliant. I'll definitely link that in the show notes so people can see that directly from the podcast. But Chrissie, thank you. Thanks again for taking the time to chat today, and good luck with everything.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And good luck and stay fit, everybody.